Good morning, good morning. Gee, it's great to start your day with coffee with Karma today. Today is brought to you by the flavor of mocha. Yum! Just kidding. It is mocha though. That was mocha. So today I'm going to be talking about how to transform author into authority. And I'm going to be giving you 5 powerful strategies to do that. So if you've ever wondered, how do I leverage my book to become an authority in my field? This is the episode for you. So let's get going. Oh man, also my nose is itchy. I have an itchy nose. I wonder what that means. Anyway, and I totally forgot to bring out my regular microphone. So hopefully you can hear me well. Yeah, I No, I'm sorry. I'm having a morning. Anyway, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. So the first tip number 1 is contribute expert articles and quotes that are related to your book. So for example, I did this a lot with 57 Secrets for Branding Yourself Online. I took quotes directly from the book and used them as like little image quotes, and then I would expand on the quote. I also wrote articles based on some of the content. I've done that with Public Speaking Superpowers. I've done that with 57 Secrets for Branding Yourself Online. I've done that with Home Sweet Homepage. Basically, what you do is you take information that's in your book and then you expand upon it a little bit to create an article that drives people back to the book. Tip number 2, offer consulting or coaching related to your book's topic. So I've created courses based on public speaking superpowers that help you become at least, well versed enough to start out speaking, get over your fear, that kind of thing. And basically, this entire month of June 2024 is educational resources based on my book, Serve Up Your Book. What does this do? So, the first 2 tips, what is this doing to translate your author into authority? So, tip number 1, when you're writing expert articles that lead to your book, first of all, you're leveraging your author status to get your articles out in the world, but also having more content in the form of authoritative articles makes you sound and appear and be perceived as more authoritative. Offering consulting and coaching uh, programs related to your book, only authorities do these things. So do the things that authorities do, right? Okay. Tip number 3, pitch for media interviews and featured articles. There is like a magic halo that pops up off top of your head when you get interviewed by the media. So if you can leverage your book to get media interviews, you will be perceived as an authority. And the best way to do this is to pitch stories that are related to your book, that are related to what the journalist's beat is. And if you can tie it to something that's going on in the world, either an observance or like right now, graduation, Father's Day, something like that, you're more likely to get that interview. So in order to write your book, you need to know your audience, the people who read your book. Well, in order to get into the media, you need to know your audience, journalists, and who their audience is. So you're kind of needing to know 2 audiences. But there and just this showing up in the media gives you authority. And what's wonderful is that once you've been on one of these things, you can plop their logo onto your banner on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you happen to be, plop those logos, and it gives you a, a greater air of authority. Now, start local and work your way to regional and then eventually national, because media begets media. When journalists start finding out that other journalists are interviewing you, they'll wanna interview you as well. And if you can be successful locally, it's gonna give you more cred regionally and then nationally. Tip number 4, create info products like courses and master classes. So that's slightly different than coaching and consulting. Coaching and consulting is where you're working more one-on-one or in a small group, sometimes larger groups, but usually small groups. Info products are you create it and you set it aside and sell it. And then you don't have to interact with the person on the product. Now that said, courses that have no component of you in them other than what's recorded don't do as well as those that have a component of at least a Q&A session or some time with you, because people get busy and they forget about your program and then they don't take it. So they spend all this and then they feel kind of resentful for it, and that resentment kind of floats onto you even though it's not warranted. So I recommend doing more of a hybrid where it's part course, part time with you, and you'll do much more effectively. And when you have a successful course or info product, that gives you authority. It just does. There are people who have big programs. There are smaller programs by lesser known people who that are probably better, but because that person has a successful program, they've gained the authority. And tip number 5, explore corporate training or licensing opportunities. Now, depending on the topic of your book, you can do training in the corporate environment, which is much more successful. Or you can get licensing opportunities. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that. You can do a licensing opportunity where you train other people to do what you do, or there's licensing opportunities which allows other people to use your content for other reasons. So, for example, you could license your book. And one way to do this is to partner with an organization that has a lot of people in your ideal target market, and you give them the permission to use your book. You can even put a page in there that says, "This book was brought to you by this organization," and they use that book to give to their members, maybe part of a welcome kit, maybe just part of a one-time campaign, and it's not exactly licensing, but it's kinda licensing. So, look for these opportunities to get your face in front of more of your peeps, and that lends you more authority. So, I hope you found these tips helpful. On Friday, which is Fun Friday, I'm did you watch the show Friends? If you haven't, I'm wondering what rock you've been under, because most people have seen was a very popular TV show and now in reruns is also quite popular. I'm going to be giving you 5 ways that are inspired by the TV show Friends to improve your author's journey. So I will see you on Friday. This is Carma Spence.